Hello, this is Hooked by Happenstance, and I'm Kendra, and this is Makes Monday, episode 56, Startling. It might be startling to some of you if the sun is still up. It is Halloween, which means it's Wednesday as I film this, and it's actually kind of good that I waited this long because I was unclear on what I was going to use as a title for this week's episode. I always like to begin this crochet podcast by discussing a word of the week. I tell you the definition, have a little dictionary here, we talk about it a bit, and then I kind of talk about how it pertained to the various crafts that I got done that week. And I hadn't really had a good, strong feeling toward any word until today. Startling. So, it's a good Halloween-y word, right? I came to pick that word because I originally was thinking about something like scary or whatever, and I'll explain why. And the definition for scary was just not very interesting. It led you to frightful and startling. And frightful, it kind of fit, but startling is better. So startling is an adjective that means causing sudden fear, surprise, or anxiety. So I experience a lot of startling things in life. But today, I had some new and special things that were startling, and so I've been spending a lot of my time, mentally processing them. So let's discuss, because some of them involve the things that are off my hook. So the first startling project that I finished is this here, which here it was. I was wearing it yesterday. I posted a picture of me wearing it on Instagram today. And this is my finished Reminisce cardigan. I made it from a pattern by Heidi Made a Velvet Acorn. However, I did not use the weight of yarn indicated in the pattern, so I did make modifications to make it all fit and everything, and changed up stitch numbers and stuff. The striping is also not included in the pattern. This was originally a Let Peach Let Pick. She picked from my black, brown, and gray acrylic drawer, and the black is all Red Heart with Love. This dark gray is also Red Heart with Love. The darker brown is just Red Heart Super Saver. And then the lighter brown and the lighter gray are both, Natura something. They're very old yarns and they don't make them anymore. So, I made up the striping progression using a dice. I rolled to see how many rows of each color I would do until the very last rows on the body. I didn't have that much yarn left, so I basically just went as far as I could with each color stripe, and then obviously striped the black in between. So this all came out of stash, except I did buy one skein of the black Red Heart with Love. That way I could finish it out, because I was about halfway done and running out of black quickly. So I did purchase a skein of yarn, which actually wasn't that much, and I'm very happy to have a sweater for $4 in yarn. It probably was less than that, but I bought a few other things at the time too. So why was this project startling? Well, that project is actually very normal if you've seen the picture on Instagram. Personally, I think it's kind of boring. I like it. I don't dislike it. I wore it yesterday. It was very comfortable. I intentionally made it to be normal clothing for normal people. But people seem to like it, and people liked it the whole time I was making it. And so I got lots of positive comments from different people I interacted with about how they thought it looked really good and how they were feeling inspired and how they want to make one and all the things. However, I tend not to like the thing that is popular. I tend not to dress like everybody that is surrounding me. It's not my thing. I don't know what it says when your primary kind of aesthetic is a Snapchat filter for Halloween. I don't know what that says about me. I was telling Steve today that I now understand and have more empathy for kittens and bunnies and people with really large cartoon eyes. Because, yeah, it's just kind of a funny thing. But yeah, so it was startling to me that it bothered me that people seem to like a piece that I I keep thinking of it as I'm not proud of it in any real way. Like, it's a good thing, it's finished, it's nice. But like, I don't feel any great like, oh boy, inside. It's not my pattern, it's somebody else's pattern. So that part, I mean, it is what it is. And then there's nothing, I don't know, other than the scheme of which I came about the stripes, there's nothing Kendra about it, but it's fine. It was startling to me, my reaction to people liking the sweater the way they did. So it's definitely made me think about some things. I actually was even like, should I just sell it? Yeah, Steve. Like, because I don't know, like, I don't know. I'm sure it will be fine. I'm sure I will learn to love the sweater in a new and different way, but like, it's just, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it because I'm still processing, but that was part of the startling part of it. So the other thing that I completed this week will actually help to round out my Let Peach Lit Play bingo board for October. Well, it's one of the two things. Completing the Reminisce cardigan helped me cross off the Quiet Howling Half Done project by finishing it because I had started it before the beginning of the month. The next thing I did real quick the other night, and it is going to mark off the makeup project that scares you. Now, I had originally planned to do something big to cover that, and I didn't get around to it and whatever, and then I realized that sometimes it's the smaller projects that scare us, or at least that scare me, and it's not always for reasons one would think. The next thing I completed here is This Is a Bugabee, which is a pattern of mine. This is a test that I did out of scrap yarn that I have that happens to be kind of Halloween-y. And I was just retesting the numbers on the typed up pattern because it's going to go into Peachless pattern pile on. Why would this cute, adorable little Bugabee be scary? Well, I will tell you. The thing that I find scary about some of the projects, especially some of the design projects, is that my energy level and motivation level tends to be a little roller coastery. I'm sure some of you notice. And so there are things that I promise that I will do, and then sometimes it takes me a while to actually get them done or to finish them or whatever. Sometimes I have grand plans and there's lots of things that I intend to do all at once and I can only do a fraction of them before life gets in the way. Either I get sick or kid gets sick or we have family members die or people come to visit or we go on vacation. It's just like, there's a lot of things that can get in the way of the things that I want to do on the crafty side of life. And there's lots of crafts that get in the way of the things I want to do in my normal life. But anyways, I make these promises and sometimes they don't get followed through on as quick as I would like. And then people ask me about them, which is fine, especially when I've said that something will occur on a certain date. I get when people ask where it is. But I have also told people that this pattern be coming out because I had gotten some requests from people on Ravelry after my Friendly Fish pattern came out, and this pattern, which I think I promised like a year and a half ago, was in one of the very first episodes of this incarnation of my podcast, and I still haven't put the pattern out. So then there's like well, you've waited so long, you would assume that it's going to be impressive, right? Well, what if the item that ends up showing up isn't that impressive? And you're like, really, I waited a year and a half for this? So that always kind of scares me. And then there's also the scary part of, will I remember what I did? Even if I write things down specifically, sometimes I just can't quite recapture whatever it was that I had going the first time I did something. And so that's just part of the design process, which is why it is best if I follow a design through from like beginning to end when it excites me. But like I said, sometimes the energy just doesn't make it from that beginning phase to the letting it out in the world, and that makes those things scary. So that is now done, and the pattern's written up, and it's all right, and it was right to begin with, so I should have typed it up a year and a half ago. But anyways, it is now ready to get posted on Patreon. I do need to take a few pictures so that I can put a picture up with the item, but those will be added to the pattern pile. So that will round out the rest of my bingo board. I've been doing my Let Peach Play bingo on this bingo bag here. And as you can see, there's 2 spots open. This bottom one belongs to that thing that scares me. The thing above it is to make something monstrous in scale. And that is one of the things that is still on my hook. theoretically, it could be off my hook before I go to bed tonight. I have spent a while this morning working on formatting the pattern and things, because it is another pattern that will end up on Peachless Pattern Pile, because I'm trying to work back through that backlog, not let those scary things scare me anymore. You know, it is startling to me the number of items that are in this room as I look around that are basically ready to be released out into the world. I just need to check them again. And some of them were probably ready to go out at some point in time, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, but I didn't have a chance to do those final checks, and now they've sat long enough that I want to check them again, because that's just the kind of person I am. So, the project that is going to count as the Make Something Monstrous in Scale, even if I don't get it done, because I am currently 5.5 skeins of yarn into this project, and I started it on my retreat, so that's a lot of crafting on one project in 1 month, and it not being my only project. This is the retest of the Cogitation 1. This is the worsted weight retest, and this is made out of Burnout Mosaic in the Optimistic colorway. This color is discontinued because people always ask whenever I try making something with it. This was a difficult yarn to work with in the fact that I've tried making multiple things out of it because I really like it, and every time it doesn't work out and I end up having to frog the thing. But in this case, I'm really, really happy with the result. So I was here where this marker is last episode, and I've done all of this week, plus type up the pattern from like here to the end. So I still have a little bit of work, and by a little bit I mean kind of a lot, but it is working up, and it's just a matter of sitting down and doing it. This is a extremely simple pattern as far as the stitches themselves are concerned. The way that the simple stitches are put together is a little bit complex, and so that is part of what's taking me so long. The writing process is difficult when I am constantly interrupted, and it seems like even if I do it in the middle of the night, I'm either interrupted or my brain is done for the day. So it's just taking me a while to get there, but we will. We'll muddle through. It'll all be all right. The next thing that has gotten a lot of love is a design that I'm working on, which is in this bag, which I'm not ready to show you because it still needs some love. But I will show you the 2 yarns I'm using. These are yarns from Cattails Yarn, and here they are. And unfortunately, I do not remember the name. The yellow one, I think, is Brigitte. They are Wheel of Time named, so I don't understand the fandom or whatever. But the colors are really nice and they work really well together. And the blue, I believe, is a colorway that has slightly changed. Well, I think the yellow one has too, since Kat originally started making these. But I'm working on a thing, and it's living in this snow globe, snow person bag that I made myself last year. And I ended up getting because I didn't think the quality of the fabric was high enough to give to all of you, so it has remained mine, as opposed to getting put up in the shop. The next thing I've been working on in order of time and energy is probably this, though I really only worked on it for 1 night, but I spent many hours working on it. This is another Simply Satisfying rug mat. The pattern is available in Peachless Pattern Pile on my Patreon. I made this out of Peaches and Cream in the Ivy League colorway and the Sea Breeze colorway. I think the Sea Breeze is like the kind of seafoam green color. They're held double, and I'm making this for my dad. I realized I still have his birthday mat here, but I wanted to mail them together because the mats weigh enough that by the time I mail it, I was going to have to pay full shipping for this one too. But if I put them together, it won't cost me nearly as much to send it. So I'm trying to get this done. But again, I've just been taken aside by those other projects the last few days, and so this hasn't gotten done. And I'm so close. I'm like 80% done. So I really should get on that, hopefully soon. Maybe for November. Maybe it'll mark something off on my November bingo board. I don't know. I haven't even looked to see what it could fit for. But remember, on the Let Peachless Play bingos, you can use works in progress because the goal is to finish things, not to needlessly start things just to, like, play a game. So, the next thing that I put some time and attention into this week, this is my cardigan. It is a cardigan that I'm designing out of this yarn, which I got from one of you, from Carla, which is why the name is the cardigan. She got it, I guess, in a knit crate a few years ago, so it might look familiar to some of you. I'm trying to see where I put the ball band. I think it's called shepherd's wool something. The ball bands are around here. I just can't lay my eyes. Shepherd's wool, I see it over there. And then, in here is the actual cardigan, which again, this is a work in progress, and I'm designing my own pattern for it, so it'll take as long as it takes. Don't pull stitches out, Kendra. Okay. So here it is. It's going to be a raglan style. So it currently is it's just a strip, but you're starting to see the raglan increases. And there's a design piece down the back, and there are some other fun things I have planned for other parts of it. Just haven't gotten to them yet, but it's in progress. And I'm happy with it. It's been really pleasant yarn to work with. And again, that I spent an evening, 2 evenings, and I did all that. So that was good. And the final thing I worked on during soccer the other day. Last week when I filmed with Steve, I was showing you a sock. I was going to make the azalea socks from the Ron Strong Step Into Crochet book, and I just wasn't happy with the honeycomb pattern. I didn't like doing it. It wasn't fun. So at soccer on Sunday, I ripped back to the 6-pointed toe. So I ripped back to here. And I started again just doing an extended single crochet sock. And I'm happy with it. They're a little big-ish looking, but my feet are not particularly small. I prefer to wear a men's 10 because I like the width and the room that they give me. So it takes a wee bit of sock to cover my feet. Now, if you actually measure my feet, interestingly, even at the end of the day, they are not that big. However, if I wear any shoe size smaller than that, it hurts my feet. I wear a women's 11 when I wear like Crocs and things that I can't get in a way that I like. If I can't get styles that I like, I will wear a women's 11. But I prefer a men's 10. And it's just, I need the room. And I also don't like socks that are super tight, but I don't like them to be bunchy. It's a very tricky situation when it comes to socks. But so far, as I keep trying these on, I'm liking them. That's part of the reason I like doing socks from toe up, is that I keep trying them on to make sure that they don't cause me any problems. I worry that if I do cuff down, I will end up having issues, because it's really the stuff around my toes that I have the most strong feelings about. So this enables me to keep that in mind. And then the last thing isn't really off my hook, and I actually don't even have it to show you, but I am super excited to tell you about it. I have done a collaboration with several other people you may be familiar with. It is called the Christmas Time in Tahola collaborative kit, I guess, and you can find it over at cattailsyarn.etsy.com. I am teaming up with Kat of Cattails Yarn, who I have other yarn from. She dyed a beautiful Charlie Brown inspired yarn called Christmas Time is Here. It has kind of a coastal vibe. She's from the south, so Christmas has its own special spin down there. And so it's got some blues along with your standard kind of red and greens. It's really pretty. If you go to her site, you can see the yarn and the kit and all the things. It is paired with a knitting pattern by Holly Dapp of Pacific North Knits called the Tahola Sock Pattern, which is an eyelet knitted sock. You receive a code for that. And if you yourself do not knit, I would still recommend getting the kit and then gifting that code to a knitter in your life. It's like 2 birds, 1 stone. It's like you get a gift for you and a gift for somebody else. It's very good. So it is a beautiful pattern, and I believe it's fairly easy to work up. Obviously, I have not done it myself, but I have seen people working on it while in conversation. So if you can converse and still make the pattern, I always think that's kind of a good place for a sock to be. You should be able to sock well speaking. And then we round out the collaborative aspect with a stitch marker by Amanda of Amanda Bugs Crafts. It is a red Charlie brand Christmas ornament stitch keeper on a lobster claw clasp. And then I made some bags that are kind of that coastal Christmas vibe. They're red and green, but instead they're coral and kind of a seafoamy green color. And then the interior of the bag is a beige cream color with like gold snowflakes. So you kind of get the Christmassy vibes. You could definitely use it all year long. And the whole thing reminds you of a coastal retreat because the town of Taholah in Washington State is a coastal town. So we're kind of covering the map and covering things, and it would be a fun thing to work on from now through Christmas. And then the bags and stitch marker would definitely be something you could use into the future, as well as Holly's pattern I think would be great any time of the year. So you can go and check that out. It is all the sales of that are being run through Kat's Etsy store. It just seemed a good idea to kind of streamline things. So you can find that at Cat Tails Yarn, plural tails, singular yarn.etsy.com. On the screen next to me, you will find a link to some of the things that have been going on around here, as well as a place to subscribe so you don't miss any of these fun videos as they just kind of plop up in your feed. And in the description box down below is a link to my Patreon page where I did post the next free Let Peachlet Play bingo board for November. There will be a video coming out this week to explain in greater detail about that, but you can go and print your board out now and even get started on your planning and stitching before that time. Also, just once more, I would like to remind you that if you're interested in receiving physical perks, i.e. the live stream or Peachlets postcards for the month of November, you need to sign up to Patreon today. That way you are charged for November because they run charges on the 1st, and Patreon can let me know that you have paid, and then I will send your physical perks out later in the month. So that is that, and I will see you all next time. Bye!